The men initiated into the Oregon Delta chapter of Phi Delta Theta learned the local history that's been passed down over the years. The following is an excerpt from our history. Melvin Pihl was one of the 24 initiated. Melvin went through pledgeship in 1946 at Oregon Beta right after the war. Due to hard feelings left from the war, Mel was unable to become a Phi Delt. Who was Melvin Pihl, and why was he initiated into Oregon Delta as one of the 24 initial inductees so many years later?
Hi, I'm Aaron Haynes. I'm right now the chapter advisor emeritus at Oregon Beta, member of Oregon Beta Phi Delta Theta, bond number 966. And you got to go back to the beginning. His connection to Phi Delta happened when he decided to get married. His woman he married was the daughter of one of the great Phi Delts of Oregon Beta history, Albert Asbar, who carried the charter back from the Indianapolis Convention in 1918 while the war was going on.
Melvin was born on June 9, 1926 in Portland, Oregon. Melvin was a very active man in early life. He was a corporal in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. After the Korean War, he was a business owner, active member of his church, and very involved in the community.
Well, I can't remember the first time I met Melvin, but I remember him many times being there at the Oregon Beta chapter house during Mom's weekend, during Dad's weekend, during alumni events when he and his wife would escort around Albert Asbar, as I mentioned earlier, around the chapter. And the story of his life kind of came up of why he was not a Phi Delta Theta member and the issues surrounding it. Just after World War II, the house was filled with veterans, and they were very big, rough and tumble guys, and they were really a great group of guys. Someone who had not served in battle was not as popular or not the kind of person sometimes they would have pledged. And Mel had been in the service, but did not get overseas. And I think there was some animosity in that kind of situation, and they just didn't pledge him.
Aaron was also able to explain where the desire and drive to initiate Melvin came from. It turns out it was Aaron's idea.
Well, the first time I really thought of helping Mel Pihl actually become initiated into our brotherhood, it happened kind of spontaneously with a number of other people. Me seeing as a province president, having the responsibilities of all of the chapters in Oregon, I was able to meet people, the province presidents of other places, and we would talk when we were there, sometimes over a malted beverage. And a couple of things that happened were people being initiated into the fraternity that were past the college age time. I was able to talk with his boys and talked with Albert Asbar and was able to talk with his wife before I ever wound up talking to him. He was actually thrilled. You could see it. And he actually saw a culmination of something that got fixed that he never thought it was going to be fixed. He was going to live his whole life. His boys were Phi Delts and his father-in-law is a Phi Delt, and he was very involved in many ways with it, but he couldn't partake in the party. Well, Mel, being older than most of the other fellows, and he gravitated towards being involved with the installation team that were adult men, and it was kind of one of the things where he wanted to just stay out of the people's way, and I remember he was very watchful and very quiet, and I kind of in awe of some of this stuff. He was a gregarious guy, but in this case he was actually very humbled and quiet.
Later, Aaron also explained why Melvin had been initiated into Oregon Delta instead of Oregon Beta.
I wanted to connect the Oregon Delta chapter with the celebration, the excitement of what was going on with somebody else's equal excitement of becoming a member of Phi Delta Theta. We probably could have done it at Oregon Beta at one time or another because we have done at least 3 since that time period at Oregon Beta where we have initiated people who have had similar situations and not being able to have it fulfilled. He did lots of things in his life, and he had lots of joy. He had some disappointment. He became a more whole person to himself because we were able to initiate him. We have many pictures that will include him there as a dad and as an alum of Oregon State, but not a Phi Delta. And we were able to change that. This probably made this man's, his latter days, so enjoyable by being associated with Phi Delta Theta and forever with Oregon Delta.
Melvin Peter Pihl died on December 19, 1995 at the age of 69. He left behind a legacy of involvement in his community and our fraternity. After learning more about Melvin, the Oregon Delta members should be proud that we were able to help make this man a Phi.
I want to mention again Rob McDonald. Boy, every time I think of Oregon Delta, I've got to always mention his name because he was one of a kind. And it's always good to have those kind of people involved to be able to do the things we wanted to do. The fellows had moved out of the fraternity house because the military took over the fraternity house in 1944 and 45. They were forced to live in another place. He managed the group of Phi Deltas and the other ones as a house manager in the Sigma Nu house. There's nothing better than fixing a problem.